Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Victor from the Star Events team, and I'm glad to be your host for tonight's session. Thank you for joining us tonight for our live on web Maximizing Business Efficiency Through Technology online seminar. It's brought to you by HP for Business and organized by Star Media Group Berhad. This 1 hour session is also streamed live on Starbiz Facebook page. So thank you everyone who's turning in tonight. Do share our Starbiz Facebook Live with your colleagues and friends who are keen to join. All right, a few quick housekeeping rules before we begin. As everyone dials into this webinar through different internet bandwidth and devices, you may or may not experience minor technical glitches. So please be patient if there's any. To minimize the risk of technical glitch, all participants are muted, video cam turned off, and chat box disabled by default. But do participate in posting questions to our panel. On your user panel, click on the Q&A button and post your questions if you are using Zoom, or place it in the comments section if you're watching via Facebook Live. There will be a short survey at the end, so please take a few minutes to complete it as your opinion matters to us. Lastly, and most importantly, please engage, learn, and enjoy. For tonight's session, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Gopi Ganasalingam, Vice President, Global Growth Acceleration, MDEC, as our moderator. Thank you, Mr. Gopi, for returning to moderate tonight's session. Mr. Gopi is a finance professional and an entrepreneur who has served in executive and board positions in the Asia-Pacific region for the last 30 years. At MDEC, Mr. Gopi is at the forefront of championing talented entrepreneurs by empowering them to actualize their business vision. Mr. Gopi is passionate about developing Malaysia's digital economy towards achieving sustainable and inclusive socio-economic development. With that, I'd like to hand over to Mr. Gopi Ganasalingam to begin the session.
Thank you, Uta. Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome for tuning in today's webinar on maximizing business efficiency through technology. I'm Gopi Ganesalingam, and I'm glad to return as your moderator for tonight's session. So we had an engaging discussion last month, and I hope you managed to pick up some useful information to help you build a resilient business. Just to recap, last month we had a session titled A Resilient Tomorrow, Emerging Stronger, and we heard how companies are adopting, pivoting, and moving their businesses forward. It was lively with wonderful insights and learnings as takeaways. We had some wonderful questions from the audience, and we didn't have much time to answer most of them. So for tonight, we're allocating 20 minutes instead for a quick Q&A session. Ladies and gentlemen, we have some of Malaysia's most influential digital leaders from diverse industries to discuss technology's role in the future of work. We will deep dive into the potential of technology and how it can be utilized to improve business efficiency and productivity in today's workplace. We will also explore how cost minimization can be achieved in the long run when utilizing the right technology tools, support, and plans. It is my pleasure to introduce our three speakers for tonight. Faizah Mohammad Amin, HP Malaysia's Managing Director, Helen Tan, co-founder of Doublewood Fashion, and Azran Osman Rani, CEO of Naluri. The fashionable Faizah Mohammad Amin has over 20 years of experience in the corporate world. A self-professed tech geek, she's passionate about supporting the future of Malaysia through technology. Faizah, please share a little more about yourself and HP for Business. Over to you, Faizah.
Thank you very much, Gopi, for a very interesting introduction. So I'm just going to introduce myself again, like I did last month. I'm Faizah Mohammad Amin. I'm the Managing Director of HP Malaysia. And I've been in the corporate sector, a seasoned corporate player for the longest time. And my first love is, of course, technology. And hence, this is why I'm in HP. Let me just also, Gopi, if you don't mind, if I can just continue, right?
Please
Thank you. I also wanted to say good evening and thank you to everyone who has dialed in and joined our second webinar. This webinar, just like the last time, is dedicated very much for SMBs. I would also like to say thank you to MDEC, where Gopi is representing, Star Group, and all our entrepreneurs, celebrity or superstars or gurus, whatever you call them, right? Azran, Brian was there last month, Helen and Faiz, for joining hands with us to do this, right? And we're doing this for Malaysia. This is only for Malaysia. Now, with everything that we face economically and also, in terms of health, with COVID-19 and everything, we at HP feels very, very strongly that we have to contribute. We got to do something, right? For the country, for the economy, for everybody. And these webinars are actually our way of doing something that is needed for the country. And this is why we're here actually only for our customers and for our loyal users. Sorry, I have a bit of sore throat, but it's not COVID, yeah? Just a bit of sore throat. I really hope the series that we have will be very beneficial for everybody, because we're sharing insights based on research that we have undertaken based on the SMBs needs after COVID-19, post-COVID-19. And with that, right, Gopi, I would also like to announce, I'm very excited actually to announce HP for Business, which is a lease to own program. It's not out of this world, but it's very special because it's the first time HP is doing it, from us, directly from us. And this is only for SMBs. The idea of this lease to own that HP is offering to the SMBs is basically to give financial flexibility, in lieu of everything that is, that is faced by the SMBs and by all businesses in Malaysia. And we hope that in times of adversity, such as where we are today, right now, right, it will help. It will do something, it will spark that motivation for SMBs to do a lot more. In this, HP for Business, lease to own, we have also collaborated with Deskera, which is an integrated cloud solution provider. And we have included, critical applications or solutions for SMBs. So I'm very excited, Gopi, to share this with everybody. It's something that we worked very hard for the last few months, based exactly on the request that came to us from our partners, resellers, and SIs, and also the end users themselves. So we are answering those needs. So
thank you, Faiza. Yeah. Thank you so much. And you know what? I want to applaud HP. I want to applaud you for being able to bespoke a solution for the industry, namely the SMEs. And we want all these, anything that's going to drive adoption for digitization. So thank you so much to HP and yourself for bespoking something like this for Malaysia. And also joining today's discussion are HP for Business mentors and entrepreneurs of their own, Helen Tan and Azran Osman Rani. Helen hails from Penang and an alumna of USM. She's an engineer, I believe, established the business in 2006 and has been involved in various aspects of the business, from e-commerce to websites, marketing, customer service, and business development. Today, their clientele is located worldwide. By relying on 100% e-commerce operation, Doublewood is able to centralize the fulfillment center and automate warehousing systems. Helen, please say hello and tell the audience a little more about yourself and your business, which you have grown to such amazing levels. Over to you, Helen. Helen, you're muted.
Okay.
That's fine. It's all part and parcel of having fun.
We read yes. Right, Gopi?
No. It's all part and parcel of having fun live on FB. Please proceed.
No issue. No issue.
Thank you, Gopi, and thank you, everyone and fellow panelists. I'm truly proud to be here. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, I'm not an engineer. I studied product design in USM.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So my name is Helen, and I'm one of the co-founder of Doublewood Fashion with my sister Helene back in the year 2007. So Doublewood was born in the year 2007 purely from the love for fashion, where we started off selling the real conventional way, just by sourcing fashion from the normal wholesale market in Kenanga market in KL. And it grew from just sourcing to now we manufacture our own label, serving more than 100,000 customers worldwide. So our business is actually really simple. It was born from the pure passion for fashion to wanting to dress women and empowering women through dressing for work, for travels, for bridesmaids pieces, and for everyday wear, as the saying goes. Always dress like it's the best days of your life. And for someone who has always loved fashion, we truly believe that every woman deserves to wear the best, thus their confidence will shine through. So with this in mind, we look through the fit and seam of every dress that we design, that we sell, to really bring out the best in the women that we dress. So we started off as a really conventional manual business model. Eventually, we turned to e-commerce back in the year 2015. We have never opened any store since. For these more than 10 years, we've never opened even one store. And this allows us to really streamline our processes, reduce the operation costs, and enables to ship out our product in one warehouse, one centralized warehouse, which of course improves efficiency. And this allows us to invest and park our model, a lot of our investment in our product R&D.
Capital, yeah.
Yeah, capital, sorry for that. Also, because we sell 100% online, it is truly important that, you know, the actual product that we sell, it has to really reflect what the customers see on the website. Like when they scroll on the website, right? We really need to, you know, reflect the real product on the website, so that when the customer receive the product, when they buy online, when they receive it, it's even better when they expect. So yeah, basically in a nutshell, Doublewood is a conventional fashion label, but capitalizing through technology and e-commerce to further enhance our business operations, customer experience, and cost efficiency, to allow us to invest more on the product that we sell, which eventually translate to more value to our customers.
Sure. I got two questions I'm dying to ask you. Doublewood, is it because men whistle twice, food wood? Is it?
You know, there's a phrase, wood.
All right.
Wood. And then because it started off with me and my sister, Helene, so there's two of us. All
right.
That's where double comes in.
Second question, during MCO, did you see a spike in your business?
No, it was actually down by 50%.
50%, right?
Yeah.
Because most of the ladies were staying at home and cooking. They didn't go out.
Has it picked up since, Helen?
Yeah.
It did?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Good. Azran, it's good to have you joining us again tonight.
You bet.
Besides his good looks, Azran brings with himself the drive to build new businesses that challenges the status quo. With his current venture, Naluri, he aims to make digital healthcare more affordable and accessible to all Malaysians. Introduce yourself, Azran, the Chama.
Oh, well, thank you, everyone. Great to join everyone this evening. If there was one philosophy that I try to live by, it is purposeful curiosity. I love the adventure of learning, but it has to have a purpose, which means not just learning for the sake of learning, but to build something that can make a difference. And especially for me, it's how do we make things much more affordable, much more accessible, and much more convenient, so that many people can enjoy benefits that previously were not easily accessible. So from capital intensive industries like airlines to entertainment and now healthcare, because it's so important and central to society today.
Excellent. Thank you. Now that we've got to know our three panel speakers, I want to just thank everybody for tuning in tonight. But before we begin, let's do a quick poll to understand our audience tonight better. We hope everyone can participate in the short poll. It'll take a quick while, but please do participate in this poll. Thank you. Over to Victor. I also feel like dancing.
Gopi,
All right.
you kept a straight face, Gopi.
Are the polls over? All right. Thank you, everyone, for voting. So let's begin our session today. So we're going to keep it very simple. So I'm going to have two heavily loaded questions. One is going to be on productivity. The other one is going to be on security. The productivity question goes like this. Integrating technology provides flexibility to help streamline business processes for better productivity. How has technology redesigned, okay, I'm going to repeat that. How has technology redesigned the workflow, or how has it been adopted in your business model, especially during the RMCO period? Faiza, I'm looking at you and to see how a big organization, an MNC like HP went through this period. Can you share with us your experience?
Glad to. So I'm going to start with this. If you've heard of a saying, right? A saying that if strong was the only option given to you, then it's the only option that you have to take. So you have to take it, right?
Yes.
So in an adverse situation that we went through, first of all, I feel very, very fortunate. Unlike other people who feel that it was a very difficult period, I feel very fortunate that I am able to helm an MNC in Malaysia during COVID-19. I think it's something that nobody has ever imagined. Even until today, we can't imagine what's going to happen in the future, right? So in this kind of very difficult situation, we basically had no other option in HP, and I'm sure it is true with the rest of the enterprises that I've talked to, even in SMBs, right? We need to survive. That was the main thing that we had to do. And most of us survived, in many different forms, but we survived. We adapted to whatever that we have and we can use. So that was key, and how HP actually managed this. So Malaysians always say this, I'm going to bring another word. We make do, right? We make do. So, and technology was what we used to make do during this period. And we use technology, even in HP, right? We had a hybrid. So before pre-COVID, we had 50% of what we do that is a mix of manual and digital, and another 50% pure digital. Post-COVID, well, we're not post-COVID right now. We went through COVID, and today we are pretty much 80 to 90% digital.
Yeah, post-MCO, yeah?
Post-MCO, RMCO today, right? So we changed the way we operate. We changed the way we think. We changed the way we trust. So that was key, yeah, in HP, because, we've never worked with, more than 1,000 people, not seeing what they do, not knowing how they are, not being able to talk to them physically, and we did it, right? So trust was the only currency traded on a technology platform that we had, which was Zoom most of the time, and sometimes Microsoft Teams. So we got to learn how to trust, we got to learn how to actually communicate very well, very clearly, so that everybody gets the point. And most importantly, we have to make sure that the words that we say comes out, the right way. So people don't misunderstand, emotion runs high. Emotion was running very high during those periods. So that's how we did it. So HP, as a tech giant, we have always advised our partners and our customers to equip themselves with knowledge. Knowledge is very important. Knowledge for their business is one thing. Knowledge even about, I talked about it in the last webinar, knowledge about COVID-19 itself. At that time, the knowledge was still, it's like sailing through the ocean. We don't know where we were going, even until today, right? You still hear a lot. So knowledge was very, very important. So we always advise everybody to have that knowledge and hold it very tightly. That on the well-being of, the people, and secondly, about the technology that they can use and they should use. So knowing how to use technology was the backbone of HP survival. Despite being a tech company, right, we still had to relearn how to use the technology in a different way. If we used it before, like, 40% of our time. Now we use like 100% of our time. Even my back was hurting, yeah, guys. Helen, because I kept looking at Zoom all day, and I started using glasses. So that's how we went through. And the workflow we built was basically based on necessity. We learned how to rebuild the workflow using the technology we have based on the necessity of that day. So that's how we did it.
Interesting, because a big company like HP, you had to redesign, you had to pivot, you had to think differently. I have one question. I want to dive a little deeper into that. How did you handle talent? Reskilling, getting the talent's mindset to change. Was it very difficult, because you probably have a lot of talent all over the country and at different levels? How did you manage that process?
It was very challenging at first, right? Because everybody wasn't sure what was going to happen, what was going on even, right? So what we did was we stayed, if we were closer last time physically, now in Zoom, we were even closer. Like we're constantly talking, and you can Zoom, right? At the same time, you on WhatsApp and you on Teams to make sure that everybody knows what's going on.
Right.
So managing talent was making sure that they understand that we're there for them, and we want them to feel very important. They are there for us too. We're gonna make it work. So that's how we did it.
So I guess you were very connected, extremely connected as a team.
We had to be.
Excellent. So that's an MNC or a big company view. I'd like to hear the smaller companies, because smaller companies are more agile, more adaptable. So Helen, to you.
Yeah, I'm not muted. Yeah, so undeniably, technology has played a big role in our business ever since the beginning, and it has tremendously shaped the future of our business, especially in the e-commerce area that we are currently in. So in fact, along the years, we have invested a lot of time and effort in streamlining our processes and operations by leveraging with technologies to grow, which enable us to, up to today, we're able to grow our business globally. So ever since the shift from Blogspot to the e-commerce, I think back in the year 2011, that was definitely a key milestone for us, because at that time, order processing, from manual processing an order, it can take up to 1 day, to now, when we shift to e-commerce, it just takes like a few minutes to process an order. So it has definitely played a significant role in our business, especially in optimizing our productivity. So since then, we have updated a few key processes to increase productivity, such as, we have shifted to cloud servers, we developed customized plugins to blend in our e-commerce platform, to automate our order processing, and of course, allow collaborations between different work functions through smart devices and centralized dashboard. So this efficiency is much felt, especially in the MCO period. When MCO was announced, we were truly devastated. We were like really sad, and we don't know what to do. We were really sad. That was one of the worst point in our business journey. So we had to shut down and to minimize contact. But because we are 100% e-commerce, the impact was much less severe compared to, imagine if we had like 10 stores across the country. So no doubt that, that was the worst period, but, we are glad that we have actually built a technology backbone along the years. So we are glad that, imagine if that happened like back in 2010, we haven't had an e-commerce store, that could have been worse. So we are glad that, we can leverage on the advantages of our existing technology. So we make use of social media, we engage a lot of KOLs, shooting our own styling videos. So that is where, we rely a lot of technology, and we also do a lot of, photoshopping, shooting, and that's where, a lot of creative work is done internally through Photoshop and using my HP ZBook. So that truly helps if you have a, powerful hardware in hand. So furthermore, during MCO, we're also exploring through AI to further enhance our digital presence. So yeah, that's what the effects.
So, excellent. So basically, the MCO has been an adoption mechanism for you to adopt digital,
and by acceleration.
To accelerate, and by using more of your acceleration onto digital platforms, you find that it's more convenient, more efficient, and hence saves you a lot of cost. Hence, your margins are better.
Yeah.
So you have much better, healthier margins now than it was before.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. So sometimes I don't know how to say it diplomatically, but sometimes good news comes in under some bad news. So it's how you weather these storms and look at brighter sparks within those storms. Excellent, very, very good. Azran, you did something very, very amazing during MCO. You were able to raise money, and that
Yes.
one is pretty amazing.
Yes.
Yes.
But tell us that, and tell us how you redesigned your workflow.
Well, first of all, I think when someone says they raised money during the lockdown period, the reality is fundraising is a continuous process,
Sure.
right? This had to go back 12, 18 months to build a relationship with investors. But ultimately, it's about selling a vision that's compelling, right? And the good thing is healthcare and digital health is front and center of the global economy and investors' interests. Right, and that is why for us, right, this is an opportunity to really showcase how technology can radically improve the reach of healthcare professionals like psychologists and dietitians, where the numbers are really, really in short supply in markets, emerging markets like Malaysia. So that's what we focus on. We take this talent, psychologists, dietitians, pharmacists, doctors, who traditionally deal with their clients or their patients face to face in a very manual and labor-intensive manner, but then open up a whole new technology world for them, talking to them about visualization tools, data visualization, automation tools, and data analytics so that they can make decisions using data rather than that gut instinct. And this allows us to scale their reach and effectiveness by tenfold. So that's why we've been spending time over the last 6 months to create a new culture or new pool of talent that's much more technology enabled.
So how did you then? How did you handle your cash flows? Were you very strict? Were you very tight? Were you raising money is a continuous process. Yes. So is spending. It's a continuous process. How did you manage? How did you balance both?
Look, in a startup business like ours, over 80% of our costs are actually our own staff salaries, right? And in a difficult situation like that, you have two choices. You either cut staff or you try to cut salaries, right? In our case, what we decided to do is cut from the top. So my co-founder and I decided we're going to stop paying ourselves and we're going to ask our leadership team to take big cuts so that we protect both the jobs and the salaries of the guys who really need and they're paid to keep going, right? So that's what we did.
Fantastic. You're walking the
Very
talk.
noble.
Well done.
Very
Well
noble.
done. Very, very noble. Very good. Helen, how did you handle the cash flow? Because I don't understand how companies that are starting up and growing, how did you handle cash flows? Was it tough?
It was tough, but I think during MCO, the toughest was getting our raw materials, our product to come in, because borders are closed. We couldn't. It's really hard when we don't have anything to sell. That's where revenue come in. When we don't have any revenue, so basically everything is down. So what we had to do was, we have to sell old clothes. So that's where we get cash flow to sustain the business. Wow. So we run a lot of campaigns. I think during MCO, we run more campaigns that we ever had during the 10 years in business. So we did a lot of campaigns, do a lot of sales that's to get more money to sustain the business. So eventually now I think we are like recovery period. So thank God.
Yeah. So what you're saying is, in order to get some cash flow, you did things that you never even thought you will do. So you had to look at different avenues and be creative and raise this money for your cash flow.
If there's any regular customers watching now, you will know that we have never do any discounts on our items. We truly value our product, so there's never any clearance sale. I mean, maybe once a year during my cyber sale, and that's it. So during MCO, we did maybe weekly, we did like collaborations with brands, brands like Ogawa and all that to come in with bundles. So that's how we, managed to get cash to, sustain the business. So we're truly grateful for all the support that we get from our customers.
Very good. Congratulations. So, so we discussed about how we adjust internally, but Faisal, I have a question for you. You're a big company, so you have a lot of vendors. How did you manage your vendor management strategy during this, during COVID and during the MCO? Because you'd manage your internal staff, your culture very well, but but your vendors are all different. How did you manage that? So they have to survive too.
Yeah. So honestly speaking, during the first phase of MCO, when I call it a hard lockdown, almost like a lockdown, nobody was actually selling anything except for Lazada and Shopee. That's pretty much it. And everybody else was pretty much in the dark.
Yep.
And that was the time when we actually stepped in and we pulled everybody's hand together, and we were actually talking to them, preparing and strategizing what we could do moving forward. We were trying to create scenario, where situations when if this were to prolong further, how do we actually bring in, just like Helen, right? We had, we had challenges to bring in our stocks from overseas, right? And we were actually, strategizing, planning how we can overcome that. And, to your question, very, very straightforward, how we managed them was we were actually sitting down with them like they're part of us, because they're pretty much part of us, right? So their challenges and their heart pain, we know it is financial mostly. It is also about, being able to manage the assets and the costs that they already had, plans that they've already laid out, but they had to pull back. We were there, giving them the advice, and also putting up certain plans from HP to enable them to have this financial freedom. This is pretty much for our partners. So all in all, I would say we showed our partners, which is made up from retailers all the way to the corporate big guns, that we're actually here. And when they are in a difficult situation, when they have challenges with financial, we have schemes that enable them to still deliver to the end user, especially the service that was designated as, what do you call that those days? The MCO, the one that can operate. I forgot the name already. What was it? Hospitals, banks. What do you call that?
Essentials.
Essential services.
Yeah, it's been so long. It feels like it's last year, but it's just a few months, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we help them to still deliver all that.
Very good. Well done. So well done. Thank you. I'm going to move on to the next question because I want to keep some time for our Q&A. Our next question is about security. So Malaysia has seen a whooping 109% increase in cyber attacks in 2020. Spyware, phishing, data theft is growing security concerns for online businesses. With technology, it is often associated with cybersecurity risks or threats. So how well prepared are you to manage this challenge efficiently and effectively? Faiza, I have to pick on you again. Big company first.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to answer it two-pronged, right? One, as HP. Second, what we actually provide or offer in terms of, support to our users. HP itself, being a multinational corporation, we actually operate almost every corner of the earth, right? So I have to be very proud to say that HP's security, in terms of our backbone network, in terms of our applications workflow, has already been there from the get-go. This is why our innovation is very, very closely, related to security. Like HP, I can start saying that we have Sure Sense and Sure View in all our machines, right? So we don't have any issues with that, because that is very, very structured, and we have a flow that everybody follows. So that's not an issue. Now, for our partners and our customers, right, especially SMBs, right, security used to be, what everybody talked about earlier, but pre-COVID-19, people were not really, knocking hard on security. But when everything that you have, you got to put on technology, you just don't have any choice. You have to really pay attention to it. So our advice to users was very simple. Take technology that you understand, learn the technology that you acquire, and stay close to what is required in order for you to keep what you have. You have everything on data right now, secured. this comes not only because of the machines that you use, but it's the way you use it. So that's how we actually approach security during COVID-19.
Very good. So if you look at it internal, I can understand, but you have got a lot of external customers, your vendors. Did you see a change in your security landscape in terms of how you're dealing with it? Did you compromise because you have to be in Zoom or Teams? Was the landscape very different during that time?
We honestly speaking, before Zoom had issues, right, of the security leakages and all that, we had words already. So we were already putting up a password even before password became big in Zoom. We're very, very secured. And when we talk to our partners, right, it is on our secured network. So we took care of them, and when they have meetings, among themselves, they can also use leverage on our network. So we have a platform for it. So
Good,
that's what MNCs does for their partners. And
good. Very encouraging. Azran, how was your take on this?
Sure. Well, as an early stage technology entrepreneur, I know that my business and my team, we cannot be experts at every aspect of technology. So we focus our efforts on the specific areas that we can be distinctive, right? Which is in our case, how do we use artificial intelligence to help healthcare professionals make quick and accurate decisions to help their clients and patients make healthier choices and habits? But for the differentiated parts that are equally essential, like data security and privacy, essentially it's about use proven existing tools and standards, right? Whether with our laptops, right, HP laptops already have pre-installed protection hardware and software, no need to reinvent the wheel. With cloud, right, there are cloud security packages that come with international standards so that you provide the assurance to your clients rather than think that a small team can kind of build the same kind of security infrastructure and systems the way a big multinational can.
Very good. Helen, how about you? What was your take?
Yeah, for us, right, we are not a technology startup. So for us, precaution is definitely the key, whereby, our IT infrastructure, our network ecosystem is monitored and managed with firewall 24/7. So of course, our website is encrypted with SSL to ensure privacy, authentication, and data integrity. So furthermore, our website is currently running on cloud server, which we have learned the hard way, because back in the year 2015, our whole website crashed. So we had not had any single backup. So we had to rebuild the whole thing. It takes us, we are in front of our computers, we're writing, reinstating every of our customers' details, through Excel sheet. So we really learned that through the hard way, and we have currently strengthened this by moving our whole e-commerce store to a cloud server. And we also established a disaster recovery system to ensure business continuity and site uptime. So this has been one of the most eye-awakening times since establishing the business with my sister. We realized the importance of paying attention to ensuring security is not taken lightly. So even simple things like, having different passwords for every individual accounts for our employees, and also reminding them and us to change passwords frequently. So definitely cannot be taken lightly. So ever since then, so security is one of the key element of going online that we are paying attention really closely to. So we like to advise other SMEs, do not take this lightly, especially do your backups, do have a disaster recovery system, which visit every year and then to do tests. So yeah.
Very good. So the takeaway for me is all three of you, whether you're a big company or different types of business, retail, health, all three of you had said one thing in common, that you didn't take security lightly. Every one of you said you took it very, very seriously. You looked at it, you didn't compromise, and yet you were trying to find the right model that worked for the business. Very good. So moving along, I did say in the start that I'm going to leave 20 minutes for Q&A. So it's 8:42. I've got 18 minutes. So I'm going to now look at some Q&A questions. So we will now address questions from the audience, and we'll try and answer that. So those who are joining us on Facebook can send your questions to the comment section, please. Question 1. Let's look at the questions. Question 1. while many of us acknowledge the pivotal importance of technology in business today, what and how is the stand of the panel speakers with regards to retail services that are heavily experienced based on, example, beauty industry, and incorporating technologies for the efficiency of the businesses, specifically in the area of revenue generating part of the business? Helen, I'm looking at you to answer that question.
Can I
Okay, I'll say it again. While many of us acknowledge the pivotal importance of technology in business today, what and how is the stand of the panel speakers with regards to retail services that are heavily experienced based on, for example, beauty industry, incorporating technologies for the efficiency of their businesses, specifically in the area of revenue generating part of the business? Essentially, how did you use technology to ramp up your revenues?
Okay, so this is a very relevant question to me because during MCO, we actually partnered with Harbour by Ogawa. They offer a lot of beauty products such as beauty slimming products. So they actually approached us to do collaboration through digital. So we did a lot of videos, interactive videos with our customers, and in fact, we actually get a lot of sales for them. So I think that, beauty is a very relevant industry to go digital right now. So because especially, everybody is bored at home, they're looking of things to do. Some people are even afraid to visit the salons because of the virus. So I think it's paramount that, you try to explore this. I think it will definitely boost up your revenue at this time.
Very good. Thank you very much. The next question, Azran, I'm going to look at you, but you've already really answered it. But this person wants to ask a little bit more. Question goes like this. The pandemic has seen a silver lining for some, but it has been hard for others. Many took to technology to survive and embrace change. Being in the humanitarian organization, much of our sources of funds took a dip. How do we use digital technology to fundraising besides crowdfunding? I know you have raised money in a few of your ventures, so I think you would be the best to answer that.
Yeah, so look, there is no quick silver bullet magic answers that I can wave a wand and suddenly, funds are going to be opened up. But I think what this pandemic has taught us more than anything is how relationships matter, right? And so rather than, thinking about fundraising as a transactional activity where I do it when I need it, it has to be something that is part of an ongoing business, right? Just may actually complete the transaction once every 12 to 18 months doesn't mean you only do it once every 12 to 18 months. It is part of your daily, weekly, and monthly conversations. In this case, there are a lot of people out there who have, a deep sense of connection with specific humanitarian causes. But if you only reach out to them when you need money, it's going to come across as very kind of cold and transactional, right? But if you keep sharing and add value, this is how we're doing, this is how we're impacting lives, that it becomes a lot easier to then, engage at the point when you need money. So, I'm afraid it's not something you can it's not a quick fix over 1 to 2 months, but it's a lesson about continuous engagement in fundraising. Very good.
Thank you. The next question, I think it's going to be to Faiza. And Faiza, maybe you could speak to us about HP. I'm going to read you the question about HP and your business model out there and how you're moving how you're moving towards the lease model, own to lease. How much, question goes like this, how much should I allocate to invest in technology for my business? So I think an SME is asking this question from an HP angle, from your new business model. How would you answer this question to help the SMEs?
I'm gonna share something that I used to do before I joined HP. Before I joined HP, I grew up in the GLC, government linked company, and I play with technology. Those days, right, technology accounts to between 10 to 20% of our total revenue, right? So we got to invest that much of investment for technology those days, right? But today, right, I think the rest of GLCs and together with SMBs, they would have the same priority. Technology should be, the main cost in terms of their doing business, because business model today is purely dependent on technology. So how you have to look at it is very simple. You have to have the right technology for your business. You have to understand how you leverage this technology in order for you to develop a business model that will work in this very, uncertain time of the economy. And in the ocean of choices that we have today, tech, you have so many techs, you got to choose the most reliable technology. I'm going to share something with you, and I'm not going to mention name. Once upon a time, 2 decades ago, when most of the network players were moving into pure IP network, right? So we had two choices those days. We had the European technology, and we had the Asia-based technology. But Asia-based technology was very, very new, but it has the same function as the European, but it was very cheap. So everybody ran there, right? And this company invested, almost to the tune of $1 billion US, to roll out the technology from this Asian-based company. In 6 months, this Asian-based company decided, we cannot do it, it's too big. They just packed up and left. So the network company was in a lurch. So to me, how it should be today is that you really have to understand what is it that you want to give to your end customers. Then you have to decide how are you going to get there, the model for you to get there. Then you decide the technology that enables you to get there. So that's how it should be. So how many percent of it? I'm not going to say that X percent, but we know that it's going to be, your cost is going to be, the bulk of it will have to be digital investment.
Right, right. Very good. Thank you so much. The next question, I think, is definitely rooted to Helen. It's very much about your business. So the question goes like this: if we are just new in starting e-commerce for products, what would be the strategy to get people to know our brand more and would go to our site and purchase the items other than the usual integrated marketing, i.e. social media and blog? How do you then attract traffic to your website is the question.
So basically, if you already have a brand, you have established a offline customers before MCO, right? So you can I think key combination is key. Number one, social media is still the number one communicator with your customers. You have to keep your customers informed of your products, what have been doing, so that customers would know that, okay, this business is still operating, they didn't shut down or what. That is number one. So you have to let your customers know that you are still there for them. So number two, maybe you can partner with marketplace, which you can get on board with them. Some, I think they even charge 0 fees. I'm not sure about that. You can get on board with them and then start selling, because I have a lot of friends who, they do not have any, they did not do any sales before, but then when they quickly sell online through Facebook, especially food, I think it's very popular right now. I think it's very easy to connect with customers and audience through digital nowadays. Especially everybody is sitting in front of the computers most of the time and not going out. So yeah, I think that's how we can get our business on board.
Very good. And there's a supplementary question. So they say that, did you have to engage a web developer, and did you have to source for investors, which I think you answered earlier, but I'm just asking the question again. Did you have to engage web developers to have a sophisticated website, and did you have to raise the money?
I think when we first started the shift from a normal blogspot to an e-commerce store back in the year 2011, it was not a very sophisticated e-commerce store. It was just a normal web store. I think it was like a default template or something like that. Only along the years, we do customizations and plugins, and we did not have any investment because I think our story, my sister and I, we only invested 1,000 ringgit each to start out our business back in the year 2007. Yeah, and we did not raise any investor funds. We bootstrap every single money that we earn. Like maybe this month we earn a few thousand and we put it back into our business. So that's how we grow more than 12 years.
Mhm.
So yeah, we have been very prudent in our spending. I think we are famous for that. we we invest a lot on our products. We make sure that the product we sell really matches the price that customers pay. Other than that, we don't spend a lot on stores or advertising and all that. So yeah, so we actually bootstrap our business. And how much we spend for website, I think back at that time it's only less than 10,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Today, websites can go right up to
100,000.
1 million because
Yeah.
of the analytics behind it, right?
Yes, the AI behind it.
And the AI behind it.
Yeah.
Talking about that, Faiza, I've got a question for you.
Sure.
And I'm going to, this is probably my second last question. Last question, I think, is for me. They're talking about grants. So the second last question is for you. And I think it is about how HP could help the SMEs to go online. So the question goes like this. How would we use technology to help my business quickly when I only have a physical store? Business is very bad and it hasn't recovered as yet. How would a company like HP handle this for the SME?
So thank you, Gopi. So this kind of please has been very familiar to HP for the last 6 months since MCO started. So this is why we came up with HP for Business Lease to Own. I think the first thing you need to have, right? I don't want to sound prescriptive, but very quickly, you need to have your machines, for you to go digital. And the machines that you have, you need to have knowledge on how to use it. Just the machines that you have. Forget about all the sophisticated advanced thing that you need to do for e-commerce. Just be very familiar with the machines. Then, like what Helen has shared with us, go, and Azran also has mentioned this very aptly, go to the well-known brands that already has invested millions or billions in terms of their efficiencies for commerce and the efficiency for security. Don't reinvent, don't build yourself. So subscribe to the cloud. Example, I'm not, advertising Microsoft or Google, but subscribe to those that has invested millions on that and has also actually collaborated with security companies. So this is how we can actually quickly take your physical and then go to virtual. And Helen mentioned just now, there are some platform that allows you to come on them with zero fees. They take cuts on your sales. That's the best way to do it. And we have been encouraging our partners, our retailers, our physical retailers to go online with a market platform X and Y. I cannot mention the names. And actually be present there, put your the goods up there. I hope I've answered that.
No, you did very well. Thank you very much, Faiza. Okay, the last question for tonight, before I move on to the final closing question for all three of you. Last question is for me. Is there any government grant that is available which business can get if we apply for when we get our business to online? So at least with MDEC, I can answer that question from an MDEC lens. There are two grants that are now open. One is called the Smart Automation Grant. And this is about SMEs or even corporates who are now taking their non-digital business and digitizing it. So you could apply for a grant. The grants are $1 for $1 or ringgit for a ringgit based on milestones up to 200,000 ringgit. The other grant is the adoption grant, which is if an SME is beginning to use cloud services, cloud apps, or cloud solutions. So MDEC has got a grant that would pay up to 5,000, again, $1 for $1. So if you subscribe to 10,000 ringgit worth of cloud services, you can apply for a grant for 5,000, claimable upon receipt. So those are two types of grants that we have right now that's available for the SMEs. So, okay, I'm going to close off the Q&A for now, and I'm going to go for the wrap-up question. The wrap-up question is for the three panelists, right? And the wrap-up question is, what advice would you give to companies that are trying to integrate technology into the operations but are limited by knowledge? Helen, can you go first, please?
Yeah. So for me personally, I believe that technology should in fact assist businesses instead of business owners being overwhelmed by technology itself. Personally, for me as a business owner, right, we have always looked for ways we can optimize our time and resources. And this is where technology comes into place. So firstly, my advice would be for business owner like you, right, to identify your pain points or even listening to the issues that your staff is currently facing. For example, maybe you have problems in meeting production deadline, or your raw material shortage due to inefficiency, or perhaps you want to diversify your revenue stream through digitalization. So maybe you can map up your digitalization roadmaps yearly and then integrate them one by one over time, instead of wanting to do so many things in 1 year. So because I think that there's no point trying to rush, because your competitor has it, that you must have it, but it's not 100% perfect. So because I believe that technology can be expensive to implement, and then it can be really, really complicated. So you have to do your testing thoroughly. There's bound to be bugs, so you have to test and test and test before all your staff is relying on it. So yeah, so that's my advice. And then also you can also get IT professionals to advise you and how technology can actually enhance your operations, which will definitely be beneficial in the long run, despite a very challenging transitional process. So when we use technology as a tool to help us achieve more in less time, then this is definitely a very powerful tool, which is worth your time and money to look into it, right? So you just have to. So
yeah,
you just have to.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you just have to view it as a tool which can save you time. And as a business owner, I believe your time is the most valuable asset that you can have. Yeah. So in the long run, I think it will be beneficial for you.
So time is money.
Yeah.
Azran, what's your advice you would give companies that are trying to integrate technology into the operations but are limited by knowledge?
Well, don't forget, 2017, Naluri started with just my crazy idea. I reached out to LinkedIn and I found one intern. That is how we started, right? And the amazing thing about Malaysia is we have a fantastic supportive startup community.
Yep.
Reach out, ask for help. People genuinely are very eager to share their experience.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. And Faiza, what's your advice to companies? You are technology, by the way. So what's your advice?
My advice is very simple. Be ready to be ready. Like when people say get set, go again on 3 things: knowledge, culture, the right people. Even if your people not right, make them right.
Wow.
The last is
nice.
technology.
Even if they're not right, make them right.
Right.
Very nice. Very nice. It's 9 o'clock now, and I promised the organizers I will stop at 9. So thank you, panelists, for sharing your insights, and thank you, everyone, for your participation. We hope you've gained some valuable takeaways which are relevant to you, to your business, to pivot, to be stronger, to be resilient. So that's all the time we have for today's session. I will now hand back to our host for tonight. So thank you very much and have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. Gopi, for moderating such an interesting discussion. And also thank you to our 3 speakers for the night: Faiza Muhammad Amin from HP, Helen Tan from Double Wood Fashion, and Azran Osman Rani from Naluri Ido. I am sure our audiences managed to learn a lot from them. HP for Business Installment Plans is now available for SMBs. Faiza, would you like to share more information on this?
Sure. So HP for Business have just been launched mid of this month, which is a lease to own program. And it is especially for SMBs, right? And the idea is to give SMBs financial flexibility, in times of, challenging economic landscape. It starts from as low as 85 ringgit per month, and you can take it up to 36 months, 3 years. For this special program for SMBs, we have actually collaborated with Deskera, which is an integrated cloud solution provider to include business critical application, and it's worth 5,000 ringgit, and it's good for free for 1 year. One among the applications that you have with it, I mean, you can start immediately with it, is bookkeeping, invoicing, accounting, reporting. Sales, the usual CRM, leads, pipeline, and employee management, pretty much payroll, leaves, and claims. So you get that as a start. This is from HP. Yeah.
Thank you, Faiza. So if you'd like to find out more about HP for Business Installment Plans, please do visit https reinvent.hp.com/HP for Business Installment Plans. You can actually obtain the link from the Zoom chat or the Facebook comment. Before we end tonight, please do help us complete the evaluation poll, which will appear on your screen now. And once again, thank you, HP team, for making tonight's sessions possible. It is actually a great effort in championing and empowering local businesses. Good night, everyone, and do stay safe. Thank you.
Good night.